Hello, in this video we'll do a live recorded evaluation of a sociology answer. Let's read the question first. Explaining the methodology used by Durkheim in his study on suicide, comment on the sociological factors leading to former suicide in India. So, there are three things to be observed in the question. So it is not like the question has asked you to just explain Durkheim's work and then mention the sociological factors of farmer suicide in India. So it has actually asked you to interlink these two parts to the best extent possible. So it should not be like you have attempted this answer in two parts. In first part you explain the Durkheim's work on suicide, and in the second part you talk about farmers suicide. Not like that. So let's read this answer first. Durkheim's work on suicide in his this work has established his claim to study society on the basis of social fact approach in terms of natural science. Very good approach. In the introduction part you have mentioned Durkheim's work and you have mentioned the core sociological concept, which is social fact. So no need to underline society on the basis. This part underline can be removed and you can underline only the social fact. Also natural science need not be mentioned here. Forget about underlining, because the question is not even remotely indicating towards natural science. He used methodologies like this, so you can represent it diagrammatically. That will improve the presentation of the answer and might also help you save time and space. So also whatever terms you have mentioned here, make sure you incorporate them in the section on farmer suicide that comes later on in this answer. That is very important because the question is more about interlinking Durkheim's work to a real world social problem in India. Finding that the suicide rate, so from police record and all this can be skipped because it is not directly aligned with the theme of the question. So you have listed down all possible variables, so very good approach. You can also write it either diagrammatically or in the form of bullet points. So the idea is to represent the same content in a more visually appealing manner. So you have talked about the different comparative methods that he used. So another important thing, like please reduce the frequency of underlines. So this is something that underlining is very important, but at the same time it should not be too much practiced in an answer. So please maintain an optimum level of underlinings. So second thing, yes, this is a very important term, social current. So you can actually mention it a little early on in this answer because it is also very much applicable to the farmer suicide. Because if poverty and indebtedness is a prime factor of farmers suicide, then there are uh, other regions in India which are more poor in compared to the areas experiencing farmer suicide. So social factor is an important factor of farmer suicide in India. Now, using the Durkheimian model of the suicide can be on the basis of four ideal types of suicide. So, not ideal types. You can skip this term also. Anomic, Okay, you have explained the different types of suicide, but this is necessary but not sufficient to score an outstanding marks in this answer. So you can actually represent the four types of suicide even in the first part of this answer. You can represent it diagrammatically. Then when you are covering the sociological factors for farmer suicide here, uh, one of the factors can be this I mean one of the components in the second part of the answer can be the linking to these four types of suicide. And then in other subpart or the other component of the second part of the answer, which deals with farmers suicide, you can mention and establish the linkage to these terminologies and approach that you have talked about. So that is another important thing that could be done. So coming to the conclusion part, Durkheim's suicide is criticized on the basis of empirical fallacy on the ground of data collection. However, it highlights. So, primarily the the conclusion deals with the criticism. So that is not a very good approach to conclude an answer. Yes, you can always mention criticism, but you can mention it before the conclusion part. In the conclusion, especially in this case, so you can highlight the fact that the relevance of Durkheim's work in farmers suicide highlights the contemporary relevance of Durkheim's work. So that is one of the ways in which you can conclude this answer. So another important thing that is a takeaway from this answer, please focus on what not to write in an answer. So you have written almost everything that is required in this answer, but if you can filter out those few things that are not required in this answer, it will further improve the content alignment of your answer. So one of the things that not to write is the frequent reference to natural science that you have done. So this can be skipped. The reference to police records, this can also be skipped. So yeah, out of 20 marks, I would give 9.5 marks. So if those minor points are taken care of, you can easily score 11 to 12 marks in this answer. So overall, very good approach. Please keep practicing. Yeah, okay, all the best.